Everybody, welcome to the first episode on custom painting of bonnet. I'm going to take you through the whole process. Now this will be from taking the bonnet off a car all the way through the stages. So a bit of prep work on mine, because this is my bonnet, it's clear coated, so we're going to have a little bit of prep. We've got stone chips and things to fill in, but I'll take you through the whole process right up to clear coat, nibbing and polishing at the end, and then refitting it, and then you'll see the bonnet all complete and finished. So things that you're going to need, because this video is basically about tools and things that you will need if you're thinking of painting a bonnet, your first bonnet you're going to paint. It's always key to have all your sort of products and things that you're going to need along the way. There's nothing worse than starting a project and then you're nipping out every 5 minutes off to tool station, off to Halfords, off here and everywhere to get bits. It just takes your time up, and bonnets take a lot of time, guys, they really do, because they're a big area and you're painting on something metal. If you're used to painting on paper and practicing on paper, when you go across to automotive, the surfaces are slippery, shiny, and it makes you change your painting style, especially airbrushing. It sort of slows you down a little bit more because papers are more absorbent, so you can sort of blast the paint down. But you've really got to start changing the way you paint when you come to painting on automotive, and be a lot cleaner. You have to be a lot cleaner along the process because of grease, sweat on your hands when you're permanently working on something for hours and hours. You've got to keep cleaning your panels down, and keeping them clean is key. So if you're doing a bonnet and you've got a studio like this, a little guide for you is not to have the bonnet sitting sort of flat and painting over the top of it. There's nothing worse, guys, because if you're painting and you're sort of bending over the top of a bonnet, you're looking at a week's work of you bent over a bonnet, cramped up, and you will get backache. So I designed a little easel. Now this is the piece here that you usually see on the studio wall, and it hooks against the wall flat. That's just over 1 metre by 850 high piece of timber, and it's got a bar that goes through the centre with these little twists. And this was basically just a weightlifting bar, long bar, and I adapted it through the centre of this timber here, and then you can just fix these like that, and made 2 legs for it, so it's on easel. This is on wheels as well, so I can wheel it around the studio. Dead cheap and easy to make. So I've got that with meat hooks on the top, so I can hook the bonnet on here and then move the chair underneath, and the bonnet is perfectly in working height for me. Adjustable chair, so I'm perfectly comfortable in front of it. If you're doing something like this and you've got a bonnet on an easel like that, the next thing you need to sort out is lighting. You do not want lighting like I've got it here, where it's left and right of you if you're working on something in front of you here like this. Because as you can see, when I put my hand up, you can see the shadow casting across. Now, because we're doing grayscale portrait on this, if I was to work with the lights, with the shadows coming across my piece of artwork, it proper throws you when you're looking at, like say, colour matching, things like that. You've got shadows casting across your artwork. There is nothing worse, guys. You need a light source from above. Now, I've got the vent system up here in the roof, and I hook a 600 daylight panel, LED daylight panel, which will sit above the easel, so it casts, all my shadows will be casting down. So when I'm working with the airbrush, my hand shadows and brush and airline shadow will be casting down away from where I'm working. And you'll have the lights on at the side, and then the one above will just put a big light across the top, and it just helps so much, guys. I've worked in the past, before this studio was built, with silly lighting, and there is nothing worse. If you're airbrushing, you get your lights absolutely bang on. More light the better. Daylight bulbs are a must because they're nice and bright. Using fluorescent strip lights, warm lights and things like that, it's just no good for your eyes, especially when you're concentrating on artwork. I've been there and done that and strained my eyes in the past in the old studio with poor lighting. So I opted for the daylight bulbs, and it's just a lot better to work from, guys. So easel to get your bonnet so it's sitting in front of you is key, or if you can hang it up on a wall in front of you and just pad the bottom of the bonnet out so it angles like that so you can work in front of it. Brilliant. Now airlines, I usually have one airbrush airline come in, but I've done a adapter, so I've got 3 coming in with quick connects and regulators on every airline, because I'm going to have 3 brushes hooked up. We'll have a detail brush, we'll have a 0.2 or a 0.3 for getting a bit of coverage, and then I'm going to have the PS290 on a 0.5 trigger for getting a lot of paint down. So it'll make life a lot easier. With 3 brushes hooked up, I can just pick a detail one up, put that down. If I want to put some more paint down, I've got the next airline ready to go. That runs off the main line and just hooks in here on a V connector. So we've got airbrush line there and then 2 on that one coming up. So that's all set up. It's key to get everything set up and all your products in-house before you start, whether it be your bonnet or if you're doing a job for a customer. If it's for a customer, it is key to get everything in-house set up, all your artwork sorted. I've been doing artwork for this bonnet for the last 2 weeks and placing things together. So I've got it all in my mind on what I'm going to do. All the artwork is stored on the laptop. Now, when it comes to artwork, there's different ways of going about it, getting across your artwork to your bonnet that you're going to be working on. Now, if you've not got a projector, you can print out your images on, say, A4 or A3 and things like that, and you can do trace down. You can get trace down on a carbon back, so you can draw over. So if your bonnet's white, you're going from a white base, you can use a carbon trace down, put your trace down onto the bonnet, put your piece of artwork on top of the trace down, pencil over the top of your artwork, and it will leave you the outline produced from the trace down onto your white bonnet. If you're working from a black bonnet, you can get white trace down, which will put you a white outline down, so you can work from like white or black. I'll be going from white on the main pieces where the artwork is, so I'll be projecting up and penciling in with a standard HB pencil. So that's how you'll see me get my artwork across. Now, because this is multiple artwork on this bonnet, we'll be using a lot of this. You're going to see a lot of this come into play, which is transfer paper. This is a conform low tack transfer paper that you can pencil and draw over the top of, and then you can scalpel it out to cut your shields, your masks and things like that. Now this one's a 600mm roll. You can get this in different sizes. You can get this from eBay and Amazon. It is brilliant stuff, guys, and I would highly recommend it if you are doing airbrushing and you want to mask things off. Transfer paper is brilliant. So I've got that one, and I've also got a proper low tack stencil vinyl. So if we need to cut anything out, this is transparent as well, so you can see through this. So if we need to shield anything off or cut anything out along the way, I've got rolls of this. Brown paper, or you can even use newspaper if you need to mask areas out. Loads of masking tape. I'd recommend go for 2-inch, inch fine line tapes we're going to be using. I've got a 5mm, 3mm, 1mm. Yeah, they're the ones that I've got. You'll probably see them come into play, not much, but I've got them if I need them, if I need to just fine line something out very nicely and get a nice sharp edge. Fine line tapes work really good. Degreasers, solvent base or water base, preferably both if you can get it. I've got solvent, I always use solvent based degreaser. I always use kitchen roll, it's nice and cheap. Pack of 4 kitchen roll for like £2. I go through loads of that, and you will do with when you do airbrushing. Now when it comes to paints, I've got a variety of paints. Now we've got water base, we've got solvent base, we've got different brands of paints as well, but the ones that I've got on the table, I know how they will lay down on top of each other. Sometimes when you put paints, certain brands of paints on top of each other, you can get reactions, but the ones that I've chosen to do this project, these will all lay down nicely, and I know which way the layers they have to go for them paints to lay down so I don't get any reactions. So we've got thinners for the paints. We've got a 2K thinner, we've got a D thinner for the custom paints, we've got a candy blue, a candy gold, we've got Chroma Coat Flamingo, which is a colour change, so that will change 3 to 4 colours. That's going in on the artwork. We've got a black base coat, which is solvent. We've got a solvent white base coat, and we've got Fiat Spider grey solvent base coat, which is the colour of Macaw. So that's going to be the main sort of colour surround on the bonnet when we do it. Airbrush paints, I've pulled a few out. We've got a full grayscale mix from 1 to 10, so all the shades all the way through, and that's mixed in gold and high flow acrylics. So for the grayscale portrait, we can jump onto that. I've got carbon black in the golden, titanium white, and I've got shading grey, which is a transparent. We've got reds, purples, excuse the phone. We've got some pearlescence as well. This is another brand of paint, but we can use that and know how to layer this along the way. So they're the sort of paints. There will be more coming up. We've got shields, so we've got the freehand Meylare shields, which will be used for the portrait and any intricate work. We've got texture stencils, circle stencils. We've got the Pocket Graphics by Scott McKay for all the intricate small pieces. Electric eraser. We've got a load of pencil erasers. We've got Posca paint pens in black, white and red. Different HB pencils, so different for like hard point ones and soft point ones. A scalpel. We've got paint brushes, a squeeze jet for the application tape, gloves, tack rags, sanding discs. Spray guns, we'll be using the GTI Pro Light for base coats with the TE10 cap, and then clear coat at the end. You'll see we're going to use the DV1. Clear coat, we've got the Capsess 6030 HS clear. Mixing pots, pint pots, half pots. We've got mixing cups for all the airbrush paint if we need to add more. We've got a cut mat for cutting out all the bits, and then when it comes to reference, I'll be mounting the bracket off the easel here, and we'll have the monitor screen coming round that I can angle in front of me, and we can use a monitor screen with all the artwork in. So that's just a little bit of what's going to be going on. So it's a lot of products, guys, and a lot of stuff to sort of get in place, and you're going to see these different stages in these episodes, and you'll see a full multi-layered piece of artwork with all custom paints going down in these episodes. So I hope you can join me in the next one when we take the bonnet off and we start the prep stages. This will be a week's work, so there's going to be a episode sort of every day on this, but there's going to be a lot of artwork, so it may take longer until after Christmas to get this done, but I'm going to start it tomorrow. We'll start base coats and prep and things like that. So hope you've enjoyed this video on the tools for the job for doing a custom bonnet, and I hope you can join me in the next one. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe, press the notification button so you don't miss out on any more upcoming videos on Dred FX Custom Paint. Drop us a thumbs up. If there's anything you want to chat about, whether it be airbrush related or custom paint related, if you need any help with anything, drop it in the comments and I'll get back to you. It don't have to be about this video. If you're stuck on something, you need a bit of advice or help, just drop it in the comments and I'll just get straight back to you. My email's there as well, so if you want to email me, if you've got any things you want to talk about, paint side of things or anything like that, spray guns, airbrushes, I'll give you as much advice as I can. So thanks for watching. I'll leave a couple of videos up now so you can hop over and see some more custom paint work, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Cheers.